Welcome everywhere else. We've got a number of different social media platforms we're including in these live streams. So thank you for being here, and thank you to the Minnesota State Arts Board and the National Endowment for the Arts for the grants to do these 15 live streams. We're at number 14. 15 is happening on Monday at 11 a.m., but I'm going to continue the Monday, Thursday, 11 a.m. Central Time with different kinds of creativity. We're just going to keep it going, and it'll be about how to decorate your interiors, your homes, your workplaces, your community centers, ecologically, economically, by using what we have around us. So I'll be taking you on tours of the Emerald Lady and what I've done here with found, donated, recreate from used store items, the things that people give me, because we don't want it to go into the landfill. We want to make something beautiful out of it if we can. And that's what I love doing, and I love sharing that inspiration. So these live streams are about I got the grant because of my memoir, Incandescence, Rising Above Darkness, and learning how, by doing it, to promote the book and sharing with you what I'm learning as growing as we're going. And so these live streams are about promoting your work, and it applies to whatever kind of work you do, whether you consider it art or craft or service, doesn't really matter. The principles all apply that we're sharing. And any and all of these live streams, as soon as they're done, go up on the Creativity Show, my YouTube channel, so you can see them anytime, repeat them. Please share them with a friend. Nothing is better than word of mouth, telling someone you care about, hoping that there's something here that will inspire, inform, encourage them to access their own creativity, and for the joy of it, the healing and the life-enhancing attributes. The more we create, the less we consume, the better for us and the planet. So it doesn't matter if you have extra, give to someone who doesn't have enough, and use your imagination. It's so fulfilling. So one of the things that I love to do is move back and forth between writing and decor and outfit and jewelry making and making cards. I just love to keep it moving. And I'd like to dedicate this show to an inspirational character person, Norman Lear, who made over 100 television shows, just passed at 101. I talked about him on my Monday live stream, gave him props for his very helpful attitude of over and next. He was asked in an interview how he's been so prolific. And then he passed the next day after I mentioned him on Monday. I'm so glad that came to me to say that. And I'd like to dedicate today's show to the inspiration he brought to so many through so many wonderful television shows, and his lightness of being, his sense of humor. And thank you, Norman, and peace to you. So we're going to talk at the end of this virtual visit. And I love to hear from you, comments and questions. I love to serve you as best I can. So ask questions. There are no dumb questions. And I love to address what you may be considering and want some help to clarify by talking about it. So in the going back and forth to keep my creativity flowing, which helps happiness, medically documented, to step into our flow, I like to go from writing to visual art. So Bo, are you ready to show the stencils? Well, they're too hard to see on this outfit. I've been wearing a different outfit I've stenciled. So Bodhi's showing pictures he took this morning. Uh, there we go. So he's showing the stencils that are on this outfit that are too hard to see in this, they're silver on this uh, very pastel-y lavender. So in person, they're very vibrant, but at this distance, hopefully these detail that he's putting up helps you appreciate it. Do you have more than one to show, or? Okay, so they're all these warbler and wildflower series I did, and all of my stencils, one after another, are coming out on my web store and Etsy and Patreon. And this one is a warbler, a different kind of warbler and flower. I'm not sure what's on the back. Is it another warbler? Oh, so that's from my pollinator series. And there's also one on the, but we didn't get a picture of that this morning, but I've got 26 warblers and wildflowers, 7 pollinators, insects or birds, and wildflowers. And right now, I think there's 3 or 4 of my flowers up, and they're going to keep coming out. Something like $3 a piece on Etsy, my web store, or Patreon. And soon there'll be a membership so that members get all of the stencils for no additional price other than their minimal membership, and they'll just keep coming. I've got 300 designs, so eventually they'll all be out one at a time in SVGs, which are scalable vector graphics. Thank you to my son Bodhi, the movie maker, his YouTube channel, for all his technical expertise to help me. He made my web store. He's making these SVGs of my stencil designs so that you can print them, download them on the internet, print them out any size you want. And I've got lots of videos on different ways to use them and how to use them. So you can go see those as well on the Creativity Show, how to stencil and ways you can use it, clothing, walls, platters, so many fine art, cards, lots and lots of ideas. So now let's get into today's subject, which is how to know when your project, your book, your painting collection, your decor project is done. And then, how to know when it's done is a very, very important and not always easy. We get attached to the project, to the joy and happiness increasing of stepping into our creative flow. And sometimes it's hard to let go. My mother, who was classically trained and self-taught, said that I was very unusual for the artists that she went to fine art school, graduated from, and worked in studios after. She said most artists overwork their pieces, and you stop when it's done. And I have to admit, I took that for granted until she told me that, and then I contemplated why. And it's something I intuited. If I started something that was enjoyed for my, the joy of creating, then uh, I'm laughing at myself because my technical son is trying to help me adjust my outfit from behind the camera. You probably caught that. I didn't have to mention it, but that's what's making me laugh. Hopefully everything is good now. So we get attached to what we're working on, the feeling, the creative happiness, joy of the healing of expressing emotions through our creativity. We get attached, and it's sometimes very hard to stop when it's done and let go. It's easy to like, oh, I just want that feeling to continue. So one of the things I practice is having, like when I'm doing the 26 warblers and wildflowers, before the 26th is done, um, I have already given some time to contemplate what I'm going to do next and start that, even if it's just thinking about it, laying out some materials, get a little energy in that direction so that it's easier to let go when I'm done with the 26 warblers and wildflowers, or the 7 pollinators, or the 15 species of cranes, my first book published by Pomegranate, um, that I'm ready to move on to the next body of work so that I don't have to feel sad or lost or empty when the project I'm working on is complete. I can just hopefully, most times, gracefully move into what's next. On the subject of how do we know when what we're working on is done, is a very mercurial thing. It's not something that you can set rules on. Um, every project, every person is unique. And so for me, the most helpful thing is to step back from it, to put it down. If I start getting frustrated with a piece of art or a story I'm writing, I put it down, walk away, do something physical, some house cleaning or laundry that needs to be done, something that really doesn't take any or much mental attention, and just refresh myself. And sometimes I walk away, turn it around, don't turn it back around if it's a painting, or don't read it if it's a story for a few days. Work on something else so that I can be refreshed and have more objectivity when I come back to look at it. And for me, it was very hard when my mother passed, because if she thought something was done and I thought something was done, if she agreed with me when I thought it was done, I was extremely set, confident that it's done. It wouldn't matter what, if the whole rest of the world said, doesn't look finished to me. If me and my mother thought it was done, I was happy, content with that. After she passed, I had trouble painting for a while, thinking, how am I going to be confident it's done? Until I realized that she was within me. Her wisdom and perception was with me, even though she's passed. I could still ask her if she agreed with me that something was done. And once I accepted that and embraced that, I could start working again. So it is very helpful to have at least one advocate, one trustworthy, qualified person, if it's writing, uh, someone who has written or has read a lot, to reflect us back to ourselves and give us confidence that our instincts, our feelings are shored up by them, or they ask questions that reveal to us that maybe there's something we didn't think about including that maybe will make it better to include. So a trustworthy reflection person, a sacred witness, I call them, is extremely helpful in the knowing when something's done, being confident. I have what I call, I didn't think of a way to phrase this until this this particular virtual visit and the need to, but I would, when I was walking yesterday, which I do every day to have what I call walking production meetings with my son. He talks about his project, I talk about mine, so we can get that trusted, qualified response on what we're thinking about doing or working on. I described it as the hum of harmony. When I look at a painting or I read a story and it just has this hum of harmony, is how I would describe it. That's when I know it's done. And even if I want to keep working on it because it's joyous, it's a serene place to be creating, I muster the courage to let it be when it reaches that hum of harmony that I would describe as complete. The story had the parts that it needed to tell the story. Not all I can remember about the story in my memoir, not everything that happened, but what communicated the essence of the story. That the title for me is what I come up with first, because that's the most distilled version of the essence of the story. Um, and if the essence of the story is communicated in the things that are shared in the story, and it reaches that completion, that hum of harmony, set it down, walk away, work on something else. Um, and that takes trusting ourselves, which is what expressing our creativity, writing any form of creative expression takes, a trusting ourselves and giving ourselves the self-love and self-respect to follow an inspiration, a curiosity, and um, keep going through the doubt that we as humans are full of, the world is full of, the competitiveness, the confusion, the jealousy, the greed, the lust, the hostility in the world. There's a lot of it. And to focus to what I would call the purpose. Um, People said hearing my stories helped them, and if I wrote them, it could help a lot of people. That's the purpose. So focus on the purpose. If people, have told you that something about geology, or when you speak about the process of writing music, it inspires them. Um, Pick your purpose for your project and focus on that when those voices of doubt come up. That's how we can keep going until it's done. And no one else can make the decision, no matter how many trusted people, qualified people we may be fortunate enough to have. If we have one, we're fortunate. And even if we have a lot somehow, no one else can make that decision about our work but us when it's done. So it is a process of learning to trust ourselves, learning to feel our feelings, learning to um, give respect to our instincts and know what they are, instead of, we can't follow other people to arrive at ourselves. So we have to uh, get closer and closer to us in the creative process. And that's a beautiful gift that comes from having the courage to create. Creating is a state of vulnerability. It's where we're most tender and open, and that is rewarded by coming to know ourselves better. We are the person that will always be with us. We are the person that can know us the best. We're the person that can challenge us the best. And we can be our best advocate. We can be our most worthy critic and our most valuable supporter. So the creative process, stepping into it, feeling our feelings, valuing our instincts, we keep revealing more and more of ourselves to ourselves, and our sense of companionship we get from knowing ourselves, from accepting ourselves, ever increases. Um, let's see what I may have left out. It looks like we're going to move on to the what I call attitudes to promote positive, peaceful, playful productivity. I like alliteration, even though there are people that criticize it as lowbrow. Let them. It's easier to remember. It's kind of playful. It's kind of prose-like. So I enjoy alliteration, and if they don't, that's their right. So ways to build our creative confidence and turn our adversity into fuel is to use it for art. And another, on the subject of how we know when something is done, if we've accomplished that, if we've achieved that, transforming the adversity into advantage by making it into art, we've painted the nightmare, we've told the story of something traumatic we went through. We have transformed it into art, and that is an aspect of completion. And if we continue to keep exploring new ideas, to find solutions for lives, we will become ever more creative. And in my life, there's a couple things I've heard more than any other things, which is people saying, I wish I was more creative. Even I think that at times and feel that at times. And so what I do with that is step into my imagination and imagine a way to express creativity, a way to build creative confidence by doing something creative. I love, as we'll show in these, when we move into the holiday home decor part of these virtual visits, I love to take the same materials that I use every year for this gift giving season, the season of bringing the light from the inside out as the light diminishes outside. I love to use the same materials, and if somebody donates or I find or some healthy ecological materials, I love to just arrange things spontaneously every year, not have a set way of doing them, just enjoy using the same materials in a different way every time. So that's part of the joy of creative expression, and seeing materials and tools and skills and knowledge around us. Sometimes other people have a way of seeing, a way of thinking, experiences that we can listen to and absorb. The art of listening, it's um, it's challenged right now with the insatiable distraction thing. People are flipping through their phones and one thing after another instead of settling and really deeply listening. So I'm kind of worried it's an endangered species being present, listening, and that's another thing that creating helps us focus, helps us stay still and manifest from that beautiful stillness, from that presence. And the same in conversation. Most people are preparing what they're going to say instead of listening to what the other person is saying. We can learn from every single person, every single experience, no matter what their education or innate intelligence is. Everyone knows things we don't know. Every single person has valuable inf- information, experiences, attitudes they can share with us if we're really listening. So, finding the time and courage to create, finding that contentment to stop and really actively listen are gifts that we give ourselves. And what we create from that is a gift that we can give the world. That's what artistic expression is. It's our it's our self-reflection, ruminating on colors or stories or decor ideas and bringing out something only we can bring out. Everyone is unique. Everyone's way of seeing the world, everyone's way of processing and expressing their aesthetic is unique. And diversity is health. Inclusivity is strength. So let us share ourselves and let us open to other people sharing with us their unique aesthetic. Um, do what you love and share it with the world. Do what gives you peace of mind and increase the peace in the world. So that is basically the purpose of all that I say and do. Is it it gave me peace from very young in life to step into creative expression that helped me transform my adversity into advantage in art. And that's what I want to share with you and everyone. The more of us that can find that peace, the more peaceful the world is, the safer we all are. And what we have in common is so much more important than our differences. And what we all have in common is everyone wants to be safe. Everyone wants to feel valued, respected. Everyone wants love that they can receive and give. So that's what we should focus on. And don't, we get to choose not to give our energy to conflict. And especially now in the world, um, there's always been a lot of conflict, but there's also sanctuaries of peace. And that is something we can increase by believing in it and doing it. And doing it is creating our peaceful place and bringing that out to the world. I heard something recently that validated something I experienced. I lived in Venice Beach, in LA for a period with a friend many years ago. And I was skating on the boardwalk, dance skating, and I had this guy who said he was a producer, say they're making a roller skating thriller, and asked me to come down and audition. And I didn't I didn't want to participate in the Hollywood machine. I felt it was really sexist, uh, racist, elitist, all the things that I think are the illnesses in the world, not the beauty of the world. And I decided very young in life to be independent creative, a creative generalist. And I was so delighted when my son asked me to work with him and named us Mother Son Productions. And now we're doing 4 videos a week, 2 of my virtual visits, and he has a virtual visit tomorrow. Well, not tomorrow, Saturday at 4, Bodhi the Movie Maker, his YouTube. And he puts out a video every week on Fridays. And so we are a production house, and the 2 of us do it all. So it doesn't take that whole complexity that we think that we have to have a studio and camera people and lighting and makeup and hair. And I'm going to sneeze. Excuse. It happens. Everybody sneezes. So there we go. So we can do it ourselves or with one other person. There's 2.
Gesundheit.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Are you getting some questions ready? Because I'm getting to the end of this for time for questions in a minute here.
Yes.
Okay. So this woman who wrote a book, whose name I can't remember, but she wrote a book called Burn It Down. She was a journalist in LA, and her latest book, I apologize, I can't remember her name, and her latest book may be Burn It Down, or Burning It Down, but it's about the Hollywood machine. And she said something extremely impactful to me. She said that there's a presumption in Hollywood, in the big studios, that if a person is gentle, they couldn't be a creative genius. And I'm like, what a self-organizing, confusing pile of poo-poo that is, as if kind people can't be strong, as if gentle people can't be successful, powerful. The gentlest thing a trickle of water can cut through stone. It just has to keep going. And the explosive and self aggrandizing and bully aggressive bullshit is fear-based, and kindness is love-based, and there's nothing more powerful than love. So I was really happy that I chose to be independent. Not that I wouldn't necessarily work with producers, publishers, whatever. I have done some of that and I'm open to it, but I'm not going to give up what I most value to do that. I'm not going to become a self-deprecating woman who trades on only sex appeal to be listened to. Women have as much to say as men do, and women should speak up and share it. And self-organizing sexism is women being afraid of men because they have the power, the might, the guns, the money. They make most of the laws. And so most women are afraid to hold men accountable and to step up and speak up. And in this world that women, it is harder for women. And so most of them are too smart to take it out on men and too good to take it out on kids. So who's left? So most women are very competitive with other women, and I do not participate in that. We need to shore each other up. My mother was jealous of no one and competed with no one. She knew that love and support was the stuff, and she was an incredibly gentle person, but her power, everyone who met her felt the same way I do, that she was enlightened. Everyone that talked to her was changed for the better. That's true power. And so gentleness can be far more powerful than aggression. Fear is an easy way to control people. We see that happening in the world. We see political figures that use it to try to control people. The bully on the playground is, the one that people will go along with because they're afraid to be the target of the bully's aggression. But the person with the kindest heart is the one that is most respected, has the most influence, lasts the longest. The bullies, we as soon as you get away from them, they're quite forgettable. And so step up and share your gentleness. It does not have to be in this self-organizing sexism world. Women are not supposed to speak up. If we are confident, we're not trusted. We're supposed to be, I don't know, full of disclaimers. I'm no expert. If you ask me, I'd say, but I don't really know what I'm talking about. That's promoted. And if a woman speaks up and has confidence and knows what she knows, she's often maligned by the other women and targeted by men. And I understand and I feel compassion for people that compromise, men or women, and go along with that's the way the world is, but it isn't the way the world needs to be. And bonobos and chimpanzees, same amount of DNA with us more than any other creatures. The chimpanzees kill their young and kill each other. The bonobos, nobody dies in the tribe. The women pass out the food. The female bonobos are allied, and when young testosterone males try to steal the food, they let him know he's not in charge without any death. So step up, women, speak up, use your gentleness as the strength that it is. And I believe that the world can come back into better balance if and when women shore each other up, support each other to bring our nurturing, our natural care about everybody energy out into the world, and match this all about me, selfish narcissism on the rise in the world, competing with each other. No, shore each other up. If there's a woman you have something nice to say about, say it. And if there are women that you don't admire, we don't need to know. I don't need to know. Doesn't help me. If someone is dangerous, that is different. But gossip, I do not participate in, because no one is helped. It's boring, and it's like eating junk food when you need a real nutritious meal. So share yourself, what inspires you, and the world is enriched. And that's what it's all about. So, Bo, are we ready for some questions?
Yes, indeed. How are they? Oh, hello. We got a new comment from Tigger Tiramisu. I will remember the hum of harmony. That resonates nicely. Pun intended?
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Well, and I
Um,
want to say, besides, thank you for that reflection. That's what we need, is to give each other reflections on things we say that help each other, things we do that inspire each other. But also the setting. You can read that to me because I can't read it from this far
I will.
away. But um, in doing these live streams, virtual visits, it's given me the opportunity to face my fears and doubts about getting the camera and speaking, saying what's important to me, exposing my loves and vulnerabilities and right. And it's also given me a reason to, like yesterday was the first time I'm like, well, how do I describe when I feel that a creation is done? And I said to Bodhi, well, it kind of has a hum of harmony. And so when when we're inspired, motivated to help others, it takes us to a more satisfying level within ourselves that's very empowering. So thank you for being there, hearing that, reflecting it back to me, and thank you, universe, for this opportunity to have the reason to do these live streams, and it's very gratifying.
Good. Let me put up two comments by Ashley. I'll read them. Ashley Turner. Claire has such a great voice. Always appreciate her insights on life, and alliteration is my favorite too.
Nice, nice. Thank you, Ashley. I really appreciate that. That's sweet. That's sweet. Yeah, it's hard. We all know it as women, and men may know it too. Um, it's harder for us to speak up, and a lot of women become aggressive, hostile, um, you know, vulgar. That's more accepted than being gentle and passionate and a champion of love and compassion. It's actually more easily accepted, more readily accepted if we're vulgar and caustic than if we're gentle and kind. But I will not participate in that. I refuse. And the more of us who refuse to participate in being accepted by being hostile, and the more of us who are champions of loving one another, loving this beautiful world we're in, the stronger it will get. So, love you, sisters.
Nice. Well, and on to the next question. Brian Hemingway said, which of your current stencils is your favorite for holiday cards, decor, or clothing? Any color or design ideas you have for us? From Brian Hemingway.
Well, thank you, Brian. Brian, before I answer that question, hello to you, and we miss you. And Brian is the person out in San Francisco at Skating Place, which I actually was the first person to skate there because it was off the main road in Golden Gate Park, with my skating partner of many years, Lateef Swain, and the best skater I ever saw, dance skater, street skater, a different art form. He and I skated there for many years before other people started coming there. But I met Brian there, and he suggested making a uh, Thanksgiving turkey. He thought it was going to be, I don't know. I think he described it as some paper mache on a skateboard, but we ended up getting a jockey stroller. We built this beautiful turkey over. We'll show it on the next live stream, so Bodhi will be prepared. And it turned into a tradition. So we did a number of these that we called art to burn. So we made them out of flammable organic materials, and we put them over the joggy stroller, danced around in the scene, then down John Kennedy, down to the ocean, took it off the joggy stroller, and made a bonfire out at the beach with these beautiful effigies to creativity. So smoking turkey will, and Angel of Light, and there was 1,000 Cranes, Blazing Blossoms. We'll share them at the next virtual visit on Monday at 11. But thank you, Brian, for inspiring that and working with Bodhi and I to build them and bring them out to celebrate with the tribe out there. So now to answer your question about my favorite stencil for holiday, it's like every piece of my art is something I birthed. So it's like picking a favorite child. You know, that's really hard. It's got whatever I'm working on at the time. But yes, chrysanthemums in red and green, which I have right there in the card, is a beautiful holiday decor that it really kind of expresses the joy and the vibrancy of Christmas. The other flowers that I have on these cards are a little understated for Christmas, is kind of, yes, bright, uh, vibrant. So the chrysanthemum with the red chrysanthemum and green leaves is a beautiful holiday decor item. And that one is up in SDG. And also thank you, Brian, for informing Bodhi and I about affiliate links, where people, if they go to our videos and then they click the links, I think this is how it works. Bodhi, you say how it works, so it's correct, because I might not have it right. How does that work?
Yeah, our YouTube channels are part of the Amazon affiliate program, and so we have affiliate links in the description of our videos, which means that if people click them, we will receive a small commission on any purchases at no extra cost to them.
And are we allowed to say that?
Yes, we are allowed to say that, and advice for anybody who wants to do affiliate marketing, you're just not allowed to ask people to click them and stuff. You do want to be very transparent, and we have followed the rules and guidelines about putting disclaimers in our descriptions that notify people that we will get a small commission.
Great. All right. So thank you. I want to say that, we learn from each other, we teach and inspire each other, and that's what it's all about. What I love about the silver lining of the COVID cloud is social distancing created an opportunity to find something good about social distancing, and it was the focus and allowing us both to write books, Bodhi's novels over 100,000 words, start his Patreon membership, build my web store, so many things. These 4 productions we're doing a week that have.
Let me interrupt real quick. Brian sent a picture showing he's watching your live stream, and there's a heron right outside his window. Yeah. A great
Wow.
blue heron. Yeah.
Wow. And I'm into spiritual synchronicity. And my first colored pencil, my first colored not pen and ink or pencil drawing, was a heroine. Um, because the 10-year-old girl I was living with at the time, the daughter of my friend in Venice Beach, which I mentioned earlier, said, "It's time for color." And she answered the phone and said, "She can't talk to you now. She's doing color." And she answered the door and said, "You'll have to come back later because she's doing color now." And it was a heroine. So how fortuitous. I believe that's a little spiritual synchronicity there. Thank you for sharing that, Brian. Really helps, as I was saying about this opportunity, the silver lining of the COVID cloud, to really have the time. It looks like Instagram went off. Something happened. Bo, if you want to come out and see what that is, I don't know.
Sure.
But it's to through social media and through the internet, we can connect with anybody in the world that has an internet connection, some electricity, a phone, and that is a lot of the world, not everybody in the world, but hopefully if they don't have those things, they can walk to the next village that does. So this is an ambition I've had for a long time, to reach people, connect with people this way, to not have to burn fossil fuels to drive or fly to see people and connect, but to connect this way. And of course, everything uses some energy, so there's some energy that has to be manifested and used to connect, even with the internet. But it is the lowest um, degradation to the environment way to connect with as many as possible. And so it has been an ambition I've had way before COVID. So this time allowed us to the opportunity to really focus on these long-held ambitions and find some new ones. And that's what it's all about, being a creative generalist, being a person open to what do you have in your life right now that you could use creatively for fun, life enhancing, that's healthy for you and the environment, and use it. One of my creative principles is, when people have ideas, donate things, I come across things, to, instead of think, what's the perfect thing for me to buy right now? It's like, how can I use this? Instead of what do I need to get to make something? No, use what I have. And that's, I had a boyfriend many years ago who was a MBA graduate from Stanford, and I think the greatest compliment he gave me in our couple years of dating was, "You can do so much with so little." And that is, for me, it's a great compliment. Um, the less we have, but the more we do with it, the greater our contributions are. And the being extremely wealthy and giving a little bit is nowhere near as honorable as helping a lot of people, even if we're not wealthy. So that's that gentleness thing I'm trying to articulate for the first time, and especially in front of a camera. Um, we should celebrate like wisdom, like age, instead of being embarrassed about getting older, especially women, and feel like, we need to do surgeries. I don't even go to beauty salons, let alone, as you can tell by my hair, I just let it be. And I don't even spend money to get a trim. I don't spend, I've had the same makeup for 30 years or something. Uh, I don't, I just, no surgeries, nothing, like even facials. I just try to accept myself as I am, And it's hard because we are indoctrinated, bombarded with, how we look is more important than anything else. But no, that is not true. How we act is the most important thing. And so let us be champions of that. And let us celebrate wisdom and age instead of being embarrassed about it. Um, let's not let greedy, fear-based controllers make the rules. Let us stand up for what we know is right, which is celebrate experience. Don't, I know so many, here I am getting in front of a camera at this mature age instead of when I was young, and it's easy to look good, when you're young. Um, and they say in Hollywood, no one wants to see a woman over 40 in front of a camera. Who made that rule? Sexist men. What are the reasons is, younger women are easier to control. They don't have the experience, the life depth, the confidence, and yeah, young skin is beautiful, but so is the wisdom of maturity. And old should not be an insult. It should be a badge of honor. So there you go. All right. Do we have another question?
Certainly. Tigger Tiramisu said, LOL, so sweet. The little girl saying she's doing color.
Thank you. That was Zem, who has gone on to great things. And we'll have to send this to her and let her know she was brought up. And
Yep.
she's been putting posts up about Norman Lear, and she's her and her family have got to meet him. So that's also a little
Fortuitous.
synchronicity there. So great.
Then Madeline asked, how do you set do you set deadlines for yourself, and how do you commit to them even when you aren't feeling motivated?
Great question. Questions. How do I set deadlines? Well, I used to do, when I fell in love with drawing, I knew that I would have to share it. So I used to do exhibitions about every 6 months. So that was a deadline. Um, and now I I don't have to I don't really have to set them anymore, almost always, except for, these live streams come out at a certain time, so I have to think about what the script for the virtual visit's going to be, and so that's its own. I like to call them time agreements because deadline is stress producing. So I call them time agreements, and that's motivating without causing me stress. And I don't really have to set those time agreements anymore. I just get up and get to it every day. Um, I've always been my own boss, and the biggest struggle for me is taking time off because I love my work. I've always done my art. Not that I always made an income from it. I have done many jobs. I think we counted 30 different professions I've had, from working on the boats to planting trees, painting houses, waitressing, blah, blah, blah. Um, but I always put some time into my art, even if it was 5 minutes a day, for my own happiness and joy, and feel like I'm doing with my life what gives me fulfillment, instead of just chasing money, because you have to have some to pay bills. Um, so I no longer have to make time agreements. I do have to regard the schedule and do what's next. Um, but I do have to I like to joke, I send myself memos as my own boss and employee, if you don't take some time off, I'm going to fire you, because that's the hard part for me, is not working, because I love my work. And so that's a wealthy person's problem, and I mean wealth of imagination, not wealth of money. So the getting to it, yes, often I don't feel like starting, but I have learned over the years that if I begin, the stepping into the flow takes me along, and I'm pretty soon I'm just riding the current, and I'm not even remembering that I didn't want to start. So I believe for myself, and I do think that there's something universal about this, that if we have any time to write, paint, whatever creative thing we want to do, we are a most fortunate person. A lot of people in this world don't have enough to eat. Some don't have shelter. And I've I've been there. I've been homeless. I lived in an abandoned building in my youth. So I understand, I never forget that if I have time and a safe place to create, for me, it is just a tantrum I don't allow myself to have, to sit there and like, I don't know what to write. I don't know what to paint. Just start. If I have that time and space, I'm already gifted, fortunate, and I want to express my gratitude for that by using that time to create something, hopefully, that will satisfy me and be meaningful to others. And if I just sit there doubting myself, that I'm ever going to be good enough, that it's ever going to mean anything to anyone else, then nothing is created, and no good has come from it. And even you know, even my ex, who Bodhi's father, said, when I asked him, "Do you think I have any addictions?" He said, "To turning everything to the good." And the good is using our time as best we can. And if we have time to create, use it to create something, because even if it's not what you are jazzed about when it's done, you've learned by doing it. You've used the time positively. And if we just sit there doubting ourselves that it'll ever be good enough, then we've just used the time to stay in fear. So learn by doing, and that's how we get better. That's how everybody gets better, is by doing it. Sitting there and thinking of reasons not to do it, the only thing that gets better, we're improving our self-doubt mechanism. So just step up and start and see where it goes. Let it lead you instead of control it. So there we go. All right.
All right. So then, how long does it take to make a stencil design?
Wow. I have done, cranes with lots of feathers and detail, and the koi, lots of scales, and they were time consuming. I've also done grasses that happened really fast. So there's a variety of times. Some of them come off very quickly, and some of them take a long time. Uh, so I don't really know how to answer that, other than, you know, Let's see if I can think of my simplest design would be blades of grass, and some of them maybe an hour, and then maybe cranes all day. Um, so, an hour to 10 hours, I would say. And yeah.
Nice. Um, all right. And then I think the one to wrap it up, since you're at 12 after 12, is
Oh, we went for more than an hour. Wow. Okay. So,
the lone 9-1 asked, art of listening, or they said art of listening. I love that. Sometimes I'm worried about trying a new artistic endeavor. I feel like I'm just adding another art to the list of stuff I'm not good at. Should I focus on one art form?
great question. Thanks for being vulnerable and saying that. Whatever makes you happy is my answer. Whatever gives you joy. And I have had to deal with the dilettante label because I do so many different creative endeavors. Um, and that is I believe fear drives a lot of people to specialize, to get money from it, to get credit, to get respected. Um, and they fear doing different things because they have this sense that they should put all their time into one thing so that they'll make the most money, be the most respected, but it isn't about others. Creativity is something, in my opinion, we do art for love. We can do other things for money, get really good at it, make a lot of money if that's what you need to do, want to do. But do art for love and for self-nourishment. So do what you feel like doing, what it will inspire you is my advice. And when I get into something, when I had the winter of jewelry making, I think I made 300 necklaces and earring sets. When I did the stenciling, I did do 300 stencil designs. When I step into something, I don't necessarily, as I've said, I like to go back and forth between playing the flute or dancing and writing and painting or designing, but I go deep into it when I start it. And the flute is something I save. For me, it's an audio meditation. It's somewhere between a bird call and a meditation, wind in the trees. It's not really. I'm not trying to make music for other people. I'm just trying to breathe through this bamboo flute. So I'm very light about it. I don't have any structure or demands on myself. I do it when I feel like it. The same with dance. Um, but some of my art forms, when I decide to tell my stories, I pick 52 to tell, and then I just go through the list and take breaks from it when I need to. So some art forms are light and we visit when we need to, want to, and some we're going to go deep into, but let yourself be in the joy of creating and work on what you want to. And um, my expertise is creative flow. It's not any one of my creative uh, expressions. My expertise is being me. And honestly, I think that's the greatest expertise any person can have, is in being themselves. So be yourself, follow what you love, and enjoy your creativity. And that's a good place to wrap it up. Thanks everybody for being here. I really, really appreciate it. It just warms my heart. And please tell a friend. It's the best way to share this, which, hopefully helps you, helps them, and helps me.
All right, fantastic. I'm going to end the live stream.
Thanks for your help, Bo, always.
Happy to help. All right.